Hello everyone, welcome to online session. Standard 4 computer subject. Lesson number 2, the central processing unit. Let us recall the history of computers by rearranging the jumbled word. Abacus, Charles Babbage, Pascaline. In the previous lesson, we have learned that compared to those early machines, today computers are amazing. They are not only the thousands of times faster, they can also fit on the desk, on your lap, or even in your pocket. Computer works through an interaction of hardware and software. Hardware. Hardware refers to the parts of a computer that you can see and touch, including the case and everything inside it. The most important pieces of a hardware is the tiny rectangular chips inside your computer, and it's called the central processing unit, means CPU or microprocessor. In this lesson, we will learn about the functions and functional units of the central processing. Like human beings, the computer also needs a brain to work. At the core of every computer is a device regularly the size of large postage stamp. This device is known as the Central Processing Unit or CPU. The CPU of a computer is a piece of hardware that carries out the instruction of a computer program. This program will take input from an input device, process it, and give the result to an output device. Every instruction has to go through the CPU. So let's say you press the letter K on your keyboard and it appears on the screen. The CPU is what makes this possible. CPU aren't just found in a desktop or a laptop computer. Many electric devices now depend on them for their operation as well. Mobile phone, DVD players, and washing machine are the examples of the equipment that has of a CPU. CPU basic. The CPU is often referred to as a processor, central processor, or microprocessor. A computer CPU handles all the instruction. It revises from the hardware and software running on the computer. Do you know when the CPU of a computer is contained on a chip? It is called a microprocessor. History of the CPU. The CPU was first developed at Intel by Federico Fagan and Ted Hope in 1971. The first processor released by Intel was the 4004 processor. The power of a computer is in its central processing unit. More power in the CPU means faster calculation and thus a faster computer. CPU function. CPU function. The main function of the CPU is a processing instruction given to the computer. The functions of the CPU of a computer are as follows. The CPU reads and executes program instruction. It coordinates the activities of a computer system. It controls the operation of all the parts of the computer. It stores data, intermediate result and instruction program. Functional unit of the CPU. The computer system essentially comprises three important parts: the input device, central processing unit means CPU, and the output device. The CPU itself is made of three components, namely the memory or the storage unit, central unit means CU, and the arithmetic logical unit means ALU. The machine cycle given below explain clearly the functions of these components individually. Basic structure of a CPU. We send data into input device. Control unit can control the functions. Sending to the arithmetic logical unit. It will control in CPU. Again they are sending in a memory. Memory can send the data to output device. Now let's see the machine cycle. Main memory. Step 1. Fetch the instruction, the memory. Step 2. Decode the instruction into command. Step 3. Execute the command. Step 4. Store function in the or instruction in the memory. Let us learn about all the units here. The memory or storage unit. This unit can store instruction, data and intermediate result. It supplies information to other units of the computer when you need it. It is also known as an internal storage unit or main memory or primary storage or random access memory means RAM. Control unit. This unit controls the flow of information through the processor and coordinate the activities of the other units within the processor. It is the brain within the brain, as it is control what happened inside the processor, which in turn controls the rest of the piece. The arithmetic logic unit. An arithmetic logic unit ALU is a major component of the central processing unit of a computer system. This unit consists of two sections. Number 1, arithmetic section, and 2, logic section. Arithmetic section. This section performs calculation on the data. For example, 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. The function of the arithmetic section is to perform arithmetic operation like addition, subtraction and multiplication, division. All complex operations are done by making repetitive uses of the above operation. Logic section. This deals with logic and comparisons. For example, it works out if one value is greater, less than, or equal to another. The function of logic section is perform logic operation such as comparing the selecting, matching, and merging of data. Its size affects speed, power, and capability. Glossary. Number 1. Central Processing Unit. Piece of hardware that carries out the instruction of a computer program. Control unit. This unit instructs the memory unit, the arithmetic logic unit, and input and output devices. How to respond to a program instruction. Third, hardware. The machines, spring, and other physical components of a computer or other electric system. Memory unit. This unit stores the instructions, data, and supplies information to the other unit of a computer. Microprocessor. It is a silicon chips also known as a CPU.